Hi, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Beyond the Page. And I'm Jennifer Crosswhite, book coach and editor with Stephanie Feger, book marketing strategist extraordinaire. I can talk today. Sure.
That word's a hard one.
Yeah,
How you doing, friend?
I am doing okay. Do you have your lovely mug?
I do. Today I picked the ladybug mug.
Oh, I love the ladybug mug.
So I
Actually,
had a friend that was in town and she was using the Beyond the Page mug.
that's
So
funny.
today it is ladybug mug. And
I
so
love
next
it.
week it'll be the page mug.
I love it. I actually have ice water.
Oh, what does that say about where you're at today? You probably need a couple cups, Jen.
It's actually cool outside today. It's kind of nice. We actually had
Ah,
some thunderstorms and some hail, and it was
yes.
lovely. I was driving home from a meeting with someone yesterday, and we're kind of up in the mountains, so I'm kind of driving down. You could see the lightning, and I just loved it. We don't get them real often, so I enjoyed it quite a bit. So
Mhm.
it is a little
Mhm.
cooler today, but for some reason, I'm feeling quite warm, so I'm drinking ice water. And I
Well,
have this.
even in the summer, I would drink my hot tea,
Yeah,
but this is the weather I love and hate because I don't know when to have the air condition on
right.
or, I was just talking to Kerrigan on the team today. I'm like, you gotta let me know if it's like too hot or too cold in here because and she
Cool
said
in
it's
the
going to get 80 here. It'll be 80 here. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
we'll be 80
insane.
today. Yeah. So you
Insane.
don't know what to wear. And I did have coffee this morning and it did make me even warmer. And I've got the little lovely sunlight glitter all over me today. Kind of
It's
fun.
just you're being blessed.
Something. It's this time of year. The sun is like literally shining right here for like the next, hour maybe. So it's fun.
I
I
love
mean,
it.
how literally the sun does not move, but the sun appears to move across the horizon
Yes.
different times of the day of the year. And so where I can really tell, because I'm in my office at the same time every morning. And
Yeah.
so how the light hits me. So it's just, nature is fun. I love nature. It's
It
fun.
is fun. We had a cookout on Saturday at our house. So we live on a farm, as you know,
As I
and
know.
we had a yes, as you know, and we had my oldest, his soccer team had like a what he called the Tiger Bash, and it was they had a blow up obstacle course in the front. We had a bonfire with s'mores, and it was a lot of fun. But I bring it up because when you're talking about like the sun and all that stuff, so I was sitting at the bonfire enjoying a massive marshmallow with graham cracker. And I looked up, and the moon reminded me of the movie Bruce Almighty, where he
Oh,
roped the moon and pulled it. And I kept thinking, the moon is going to come out and bite us. Like, it's so
right.
big.
So big. Yes.
It's
Oh,
so big.
best
It's so
time
big.
about fall. You can still be outside, but you can enjoy a fire. We can't enjoy
Yes.
fires out here. I miss that. I do miss and when we lived in the Midwest, we had bonfires in our backyard, and that was so fun. So much.
We usually, well, pretty soon we will be burning the garden. That is something you do every year.
Yeah.
And bonfires are something like this is the time. And we now that the weather isn't so bad in the weekends and in the evenings, we go out and we cut down trees and put it all on the fire and then burn them at night to kind of clean up the farm. A farm is a project that is never finished, and that kind of feels like a book, Jen. A book is never finished. I've now figured this out. Just when
True.
you think it is, it ain't done.
It's true, which leads into what we're talking about today. So we are doing a series on the 5 questions you need to answer for every piece
Mm,
of content you put out. Book,
yep.
um, blog post, fiction, nonfiction, they all are around these same core questions because it goes to the purpose of why are you writing it and who your audience is. So the 5 questions are: whose story is it? We talked about that last week, your target audience. And then what's happening, which is what we're talking about today. The next 3 are what's at stake, what's the why, and what's the theme. So
Mm,
what's
I love them
happening?
all.
And so in fiction, this is kind of how your story opens up. What's going on? What is the
Mm,
problem that your main character is trying to solve? In nonfiction, you still have that. What
yeah.
is the problem that your client needs to solve, that your customer needs to solve? What
Mm,
is the what is the mission that your business is in existence for?
yep.
Why do we care? What is the reason that you're writing this book?
Yep.
And I know, Stephanie, this is so important to you. One of the things that you
Mhm.
work with your clients is making sure that they have a marketable book. And this is one of the questions, right? You can't just write about
Yes.
thing, and you just can't just ramble on. I mean, you can, but nobody was going to
But
want to read.
they won't buy it. And so, I always start off, Jen, and ask people, like, your why. Why are you writing this book? And if the answer is like a cathartic release, which is a beautiful reason to also write a book, it dictates to me the publishing approach and the energy you put into it and the type of marketing you will or won't do. If it is merely for a cathartic release, the book might not be marketable. And maybe you do a short print run and give it to your family and call it a day.
Yes.
But if you want it to be marketable, you do have to balance the problem solution equation, where you are highly aware of the problem that the author or that your potential target reader has, and you become the solution to it. Now I want to build off of that, if you don't mind, real quick, because I've recently chatted with several authors who were in the subtitle process of their journey. And a couple of them had titles that I remember highlighting. The title in and of itself, you're talking about a problem. People don't buy problems. So even though you need to know your target reader's problem, you need to know and communicate that that's the problem, but your book is the solution. So your title needs to be the solution. People don't buy, we got enough problems. People buy solutions. So you can add that context, but the context to the problem, but you need to be the solution.
It's really true. When I was working for Harper, one of the things I remember, we had this book title and it was about anger. And we kept saying in the meeting, nobody's going to carry around a book that says, I have an anger problem. Even though they know they have one, nobody wants to carry that book around. And so you have to, yes, even though the book is about how to deal with your anger problem, you have to spin it into the positive. I lost my video for a moment.
Oh, I know. I thought it was me today, Jen. I think it's you.
Me. That's so strange. Fiber optic is not picking up.
Country internet is better than fiber. That is not normal.
Very strange. I had this problem a little bit yesterday too, but whatever. It's intermittent because right now it says it's fine.
Yeah, you're still a little blurred, but not a big deal.
Technology. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, what you were saying was about like the nobody wants to buy a book that's about anger. Or let me backtrack. Nobody raises their hand and says, I have an anger problem.
Right.
They might that you are a solution to helping them through an anger problem, but they get to the source of what really might be bugging them and how can you get there. And then it just so happens you have a solution to do that. I think, Jen, this actually also goes beyond just the book. Like business and entrepreneur business in and of itself too is a problem solution equation. Yes. People will invest in you and your products and your services and your business if it is a solution to a need that they have. And so all of that is so pivotal. It's so pivotal to be aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you have to go into your writing thinking about that ahead of time. Yeah. What are we going to be? What is our end goal here? What are we trying to accomplish? And I know, there's a lot about, especially in the fiction world or more creative writing world, where you're just kind of free flowing and stuff. And that's perfectly fine. A lot of times that gets the juices flowing. A lot of times you just need to do a brain dump and just start writing ideas down on paper and things like that. But when it comes to actually start structuring your content, that is one of the big rocks you need to have in place. What is our main thrust here? What is our main point we're trying to make? And I will say, err on the side of fewer rather than more. I mean, I think a lot of times, especially when someone's approaching writing a book, they want to throw everything in this is my manifesto on everything I believe. And that's really not going to serve your audience, which we talked about last time. This is how they tie together so well, your audience and their particular problem that they're looking for the solution for. Focus on one thing very, very narrowly. And I've had this conversation a few times this last week. If you're writing for everybody, you're writing for nobody.
Exactly.
The more specific you are, the more it's a weird fact of the world.
It is.
But the more specific you are, you actually appeal to more people, because instead of making some universal broad brush claims, when you specifically paint a picture of a person with a real person with a real problem and a real solution, that's going to tug on the heartstrings. People are going to see themselves in that area, whether it fits perfectly or not, but that emotional response is going to allow them to say, oh, I can see myself in this,
Yeah.
then recommend it to other people. This book was so good because I felt like it was
Yeah.
speaking to me. And then I'm
Yeah.
going to go share it with other people. Where if it's so broad, it doesn't have that emotional resonance.
No,
But then
and I have to like, so what do you do if you don't know what that is? Like, what if you don't, what if it's hard to articulate your solution? I will actually, I think we should share some advice you and I got in the business coaching program we were a part of, and it really shaped my business, but I've seen it shape author and entrepreneurs businesses too, is okay. How can you simplify for yourself? It is easier for you to sell your services. It's also easier for you to sell your book when you can easily articulate certain things. So the Genius model is a model that people use to build a framework for a business. And it's a beautiful model you can use as a framework for a book. Actually, Make Your Author Impact is built off of the Genius model, the empowered author framework I've created, right?
Yeah.
And so what I love about that is I'm highly aware of the problems that people face. And then
it looks like, see, it's the three circles.
yes,
You can't read the
yes,
writing, I'm sure, but you've got the three circles, and then you have your inner locking areas, and then that centerpiece is like your hone in. This is just a really quick sketch I did when we were
well,
together. Do you
yeah,
have a
and
more
this
beautiful?
is
Have a more beautiful one there.
this
There
is
you go.
one that we use. It's in the book. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so it's three interlocking circles. And so what happens then is however you're communicating to people or what your book is about, you are also able to go deep and wide. So you can say, I know you have a problem. Here are the core solutions. Today, I'm going to talk about this one.
Yeah.
But these are the bigger ones I have. So it helps you speak to their needs in a way that builds confidence in people who are accepting your information, but it also allows people to see the vastness of what you could provide, even if you go focused. And so we did that together when we were at the Author Impact Summit, and I thought it was superbly powerful. I think it strengthens your message on the stage, but it definitely strengthens your message in the book.
It really does. And it's a great way to, we started talking about it there.
Mm-hmm.
You can start applying that to everything, right? You obviously
Everything.
you have one for your business, but you might have one that is like one of those rings that goes into your book, and that ring becomes 3 rings. And so you have these ways of looking at certain aspects of it, and all of a sudden you start thinking about it. Oh my gosh, I can start seeing all these things in these 3 ring constructs and how they overlap. And the cool thing about the Genius framework is it forces you to focus on the benefit you are providing. Yes. Right? So that where those 2 rings overlap, that's the benefit of those 2 areas. And then those 2 areas, and then all 3 together, boom, here's your target result.
Ideal. Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a great way to help you refocus on the solution instead of the problem. But again, if you don't have something like that, you are going to have content that wanders all over the place because you don't really know what you're talking about. And that's okay for a first draft or even a second draft. But when you are starting to publish your content, you need to be really honed in on what problem are we solving? How are we offering a solution? Why should someone even care to read this? What are they going to get out of it? And so that's why that is such a cornerstone. We need to know who we're talking to, and we need to know what we're talking about. Those 2 things are they're the first 2 rocks of what we need to talk about.
Yeah. And, I love, you and I've talked about how a book can be a calling card for something bigger. And what I love about a book in looking at a business need outside of asking this question within the book is that a book can do that, right? So knowing the problem and the solution and being able to kind of shape the story. If you are a business owner and you don't have a book as a part of your business strategy or structure, a book could open doors to allow your potential clients to understand the problem and see you as a solution. So in and of itself, the book should be written that way, but it also can be a tool in helping you bridge the gap, the problem solution gap, and connect those people who the story is really about with kind of the anchor of the core of any story.
Yeah, I think the key thing, particularly about a book that I love to tell clients about is that, and as I call it the $10 business card.
I love it.
And it's fantastic because you can use that book. It gives you authority. It opens doors. it will go farther. I mean, how many people can you actually speak with in a day? Not very
Mm-hmm.
many,
No.
but your book can go around the world and make
Mm-hmm.
impact and reach people you'll never be able to reach any other way. People can
Mm-hmm.
recommend it. They can hand it to other people,
Yep.
especially, of course, as we've talked about, if you're speaking,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have a book, because once people hear you speak and they're like, wow, that was so fantastic. I love that. I wish my friend was here.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a book that I
Uh-huh.
can share with my friend? No, we don't have a
No.
book. Then
No, we
where
don't
can
have anything.
right? So
Right.
your book will take your message and work for you when you're not there working. And that's one of
Right.
the fantastic things. And then especially if it's something related to your business and in the back, you have resources for people to get in contact with you. It's a great way to expand your business. And it's
It
another
is.
tool in your toolkit that
Yes.
does marketing for you when you're not
Mm-hmm.
awake or
And
wherever you
right. And let me give you one more idea around this too. So I want you to think about where your target reader or your target client is about 2 or 3 steps before they're at you. That could be, what we call complementary service providers, right? So you and I are actually complementary service providers on a mixed approach, right? When authors are with you, when they're done, they need the book process. And people come to me, and some of them don't have their books done, or they have a business and need a book, and that's when you come. So knowing that, if you have a book, you could, depending upon your publishing approach and collaborate with industry experts and complementary service providers and tell them, hey, would you find it valuable to have some copies of my books that are signed, or even do a custom edition where you write a letter as the next step for your clients? So like Jen, what it could be. So think about like a Christmas gift, just to throw it out. Maybe you'll do it. I don't know. But for your clients, when you're done, you could say, hey, by the way, I'm going to mail you a copy of a book. I think you would find it really helpful. And what have you. Now, it is a value add for you on your side, because authors who sell more books will write more books. And then it's a value add for me, because the book opens doors, and then I could be seen as a solution. It's a win-win. And I think if you think about how your book could do that, as long as you tackle it in a beautiful, authentic way, not take my book, but really as an authentic way, it could be an amazing tool for people to deepen their list.
And if you think even about think of like a package of resources, right, that you can offer. So perhaps you are in an industry, let's say you deal with the elderly. So you might deal with an elderly insurance specialist, long-term care, Medicare, someone that has legal issues, assisted living places, medical, all sorts of things, right? You all have the same target audience. You're coming at the message from a very specific way. Together, you get some of those, you could put together packages of resources that would help your ideal client, but it would also let them know, hey, here are the resources that are available that you might not have thought of, that you might need. It's a trusted resource. But that's one of the things, is that you are now conveying that person's trust with the relationship you have to their complementary provider, and vice versa. And so for business owners, this is a fantastic way to network and to grow their business in unusual ways. That's very, very helpful. It's not slimy or weird or any of that.
No.
It's helping your ideal customer because they have needs. You're meeting your one slice, and then you join with these complementary service providers to help meet the other slice. And then together you're serving your client in a wonderful way that's only a benefit to them. And
it's awesome.
Win-win for everybody. And so it's a great way to begin thinking about what ways can we use our content, and in this case, in a book, in a way that is really, really helpful. And so I love to encourage business owners and entrepreneurs and authorpreneurs, but to think about your book in a non-traditional way. The idea that your book, you are going to make money from the sale of the book, that is a very
limiting. It's limiting.
Very limiting, very narrow. The book actually, like that's why I call it the $10 business card. You are going to give it away lots and lots of places because of the way it's going to open the door. And that is it is one of the most effective marketing tools you have
ever.
And so look at the cost versus
Yeah.
what you might spend on some other marketing campaigns.
Mhm.
It is
Mhm.
a bargain for what you get out of it. And so that's
Yes.
a way to think of it.
Yes, it's brilliant. It is. I've learned in marketing the best way to market yourself and the best value you can do is when you give. Don't hold back, give. When you give value, people, especially if you're wanting to build a business or leverage a book as a tool within your business, give. Don't hold back because people will notice and see. Don't feel like you have to hold the secret sauce. Share.
Right. Yes. And I think what happens too is people realize, oh, I know why my Wi-Fi is not so great. It's on the wrong network. I'm not going to change it though, because who knows what but yes, I mean, there is this idea that if you're giving away such good stuff, then they're thinking, well, if you're giving this away, how much more valuable is the stuff you charge for? Like they're getting a taste of you then, and they love what they have. And so now they're going to be able to go on and go, okay, I really like what you're saying here. This aligns with me. You're hitting my pain points. I'm getting value from you. Like I've got stuff I can already do and take away. There's such great value here. How much more can you help me for what if I pay you? And so that becomes, again, it's a fabulous marketing tool. I find that people who hold things very closely and tight and say, well, I spend a lot of time on that. I'm not going to just give that away. People feel that energy and they're like, well, then I don't know that you're going to have my best interest in mind either.
It's a scarcity and abundance mindset. There is enough people. There is enough. And the reality is if you hold it back, you will never be able to help all the people that actually want and can benefit from you. Oh, Zan, that's why I'm a client, Jennifer. That's exactly like give. And then people will receive it and they will be grateful for it. And the right people will come.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that that's really, truly true. We have to trust that when we put our best out there, that it's going to come back to us. And it's more fun. Honestly, I think it's more fun that way. I don't know.
I do too, Jen. I mean, that's just how it's just life's too short. I don't have energy for that.
It's very, very true. So my book I'm going to highlight today. When we were together, I read this on the plane, Predictable Success by Les McCowan.
Putting it in my Amazon cart right now.
It's fantastic for entrepreneurs. The whole weekend I was talking about this book and I could never remember what to call it. I was like, progressive success, possible.
Yeah, it's like every different type.
Every different kind of success that started with the letter P. Yeah. But one thing I love about this book is that it diagnoses where you are in your life cycle of your business and the pitfalls and the benefits and how to get to the predictable success cycle, the things you need. And he says something
here.
Do you
have a hardcover?
No, this is a trade paper.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm literally shopping, Jen, because I hear it's Prime Day.
Is it Prime Day? Oh, it probably is.
It's Prime Day, peeps. So go buy that and then go buy a couple of Jen and our books too. I
have to say, I did buy my very first Christmas present the other day. So I do like to shop in advance when I can. All right. So I will say, so this quote in here, he says, every dollar you spend should take you a step closer to finding a viable market for your product and service. And I just love that quote because it's in this book. And this is exactly what you and I are talking about. Investing in your message, fit your target audience, and it's going to be one of the best returns on your money that you can put out there. And that's exactly true. You don't need to spend money on all the things. And as a business owners, we know it's very tempting to have all of these distractions and lots of opportunities to spend money. But if it's not heading you towards your market, then it's going to be wasted money. So I love that ties in so well with what we were talking about.
That is beautiful. And it is so in alignment. And even in the marketing lens, I would tell you the same thing. I was just telling someone yesterday who's going to do a redo of her website content. I said, oh my gosh, if you would have come to me sooner, I would have told you don't do it. Like that is not something you need to do. For some people it is, but for her, it's not.
Right.
So anyways, be aware and cognizant and smart.
Be very smart because there's no end of places where you can spend your money. So you want to hit it into the most effective way possible. So I love that. I love it when, the worlds collide, right? So you take something from one discipline and another discipline, and they all sort of join together.
I can't wait to read that book, Jen. It's in my shopping cart.
Yes, and it's an easy read. It makes lots of sense. I underlined so much. I was on a really all my flights that whole week, 4 flights in 4 days, were all very turbulent, and so it was a challenge to get my laptop out. And so I read the whole book. So,
oh my gosh! And
I would flies through the cabin, but you might not particularly want your computer flying through the cabin.
True. True.
So, my friends, authors, your words have power. Your book has power, and so does your message. And we invite you to take that message to the page and beyond. And so join us here every week as we discuss all of the things that help you craft your message and make your authorpreneur business fantastic. We will see you guys.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.